Ace Hardware here, kind of in a low spot. Get over to Burlington, on the north part of town, you've got about 3.5 to 5 feet of elevation difference. This is near Burlington Boulevard and Fairhaven. I always like to show Mr. Bennett's Dyke District headquarters picture. Here's near Kmart, yeah, thank you. And here's at the mall front entrance. So I just want to emphasize, you know, this can't be fixed. Once we get into the mode of these higher base flood elevations, it will trigger a slower growth and development, and that will bring with it eventually the sales tax. And so the trouble with that is it's a double hit. You're left with a reduced tax base to protect against a higher base flood, the higher core discharge, and then it costs much more to protect against the 100-year event. So, and you have to pay for that out of a reduced tax base. And I want to emphasize that bad things are already going to happen. The base flood elevations are already going to go up. At issue here is whether we can bring them back down at all. So here's another penalty that I've talked about before. Not only will the flood elevations go up, but the Corps will not select a Baker flood storage as a flood measure. And so that ain't going to help the problem. If you have less flood storage upstream, that's not going to help. And again, the problem is the volume of water that the Corps' analysis generates. I've been quite concerned about how this issue will affect our schools. You know, the poor schools are dependent on property tax base, and not only that, they got to come out to the voters every 2 to 3 years for operating levies. I think, do the statutes allow 3 years now between requests?
But they go every 2 for an operating levy.
But they can decide to go sooner. But so they've got to come to the voters for the operating levies, and you know how that goes. And so as people's tax rates increase because the overall tax base is not growing as fast as it otherwise could, then again the schools will be stuck having to go out to the public and get the voters to pass operating levies as well as the bond issues. Last time the bond issues were on the ballot, I don't think any school district passed one. For Burlington Edison, this is the geographic area of Burlington Edison, but 53% of the tax base is inside the urban limits of the city of Burlington. For Mount Vernon, about 80% of the property tax base for Mount Vernon is inside the urban limits of the school district. I mean of the city. So here's what I think is going to be the most likely outcome. FEMA flood elevations based on the flawed technical analysis will be put into place. The appeal that Mount Vernon, Burlington, and Dyke districts are talking about now will be unsuccessful. Dramatically higher base flood elevations will cause growth to